April 1945. Northern Germany. The war is collapsing inward, like a burning house with no doors left. I am Anna Weiss, 23. Former clerk in an SS administrative office, never issued a rifle, never taught to kill, yet wearing the gray stain of the Reich all the same. The British arrive at dawn. Engines rumble first, then boots. Disciplined and hurried. No shouting, no rage. That scares me more than screaming ever could. We are ordered into the courtyard. Women first, our papers clutched like shields that won't stop bullets. The air smells of whetstone, all smoke, and fear that has nowhere left to go. An officer reads names. When he reaches mine, he pauses. He looks again, not at me but at the red stamp on my file. Administrative section, special clearance. His eyes lift slowly, measuring, not cruel, curious. Behind me, other women whisper. Typists, radio clerks, nurses. We were told we were safe, that we were invisible, that history would forget us. But the British don't forget. They collect. We are moved to trucks, canvas backs, mud-caked wheels. No handcuffs, no explanations, just motion. Forest roads, burned villages, civilians watching us pass with hollow eyes. I keep my gaze down. Shame is heavier than chains. At the holding camp, the men are separated. High-ranking officers vanish behind barbed wire and canvas screens. We are herded into a wooden barracks already crowded with women like me, faces pale, hair tied back, coats buttoned too tightly. A woman near the wall grips my sleeve. Her accent is Bavarian. They're asking questions, she whispers, about places that don't exist anymore. I don't answer. I already know what she means. That night, the interrogations begin. They don't shout. They offer tea, cigarettes, paper, maps. They ask about names, men who disappeared in the final weeks, trains that ran with no records, crates sealed with wax and orders stamped top priority, destroy after use. I tell them I typed what I was told to type, that I never saw inside the crates, that I never asked questions. The British major watches my hands as I speak. He notices the ink stains that won't wash out. He notices when I hesitate before certain dates. Fräulein Weiss, he says calmly. Entire offices vanished in the last 10 days of the war. No files, no witnesses, only women like you. The word vanished echoes in the room. Later, back in the barracks, the women sit in silence. No crying, no prayers. We all understand the same thing now. The men with power are gone, and the secrets they carried are being pushed toward us. Outside, a train whistle sounds in the dark, long, distant, unfinished. I realize then, the war may be over for the soldiers, but for us, it is just beginning. Morning comes without warmth. April light slips through cracked boards and lands on our faces like an inspection. No one speaks. Even breathing feels loud. We are counted. Again. Numbers instead of names. Outside, the camp is fully awake now, British sentries pacing. Boots steady, rifles carried low but ready. This is not revenge. It is procedure. That makes it worse. They call for me just after breakfast. A tin mug of weak tea still burns my fingers when the door opens. Fräulein Weiss, bring your coat. The interrogation hut is a converted farmhouse. Whitewashed walls. A table. 2 chairs. No flags. No threats. The major from yesterday waits with a younger officer and a civilian man in wireframe glasses who doesn't introduce himself. They lay out documents I recognize instantly. Transport logs. My typing. My spacing. My mistakes. One page shows a date burned into my memory. The 16th of April 1945. 10 days before. Berlin falls. Where did this train go? The major asks. I answer carefully. South. Toward Bavaria. He slides another paper forward. That line was destroyed. My mouth goes dry. I feel the old instinct rise, the one drilled into us in offices and hallways. Say less. Delay. Survive. There were alternate routes, I say. The civilian finally speaks. His German is perfect, flat, and the passengers. I look at the wall behind him. I never saw them. He leans in. You typed a directive labeled Kräftebesonderer, assets of special importance. That language was reserved for elite personnel or objects. Objects. The word lands like a blow. They ask about a castle near the Austrian border, about underground vaults, about women evacuated ahead of advancing troops, women who never appeared on POW lists. I deny what I can, admit what I must. The truth is dangerous, but lies are worse now. They already know too much. The major studies me for a long moment. Then he closes the folder. You will assist us, he says, or you will remain here indefinitely. I am escorted back to the barracks under guard. The women rush me with their eyes, desperate for meaning. I shake my head once. Nothing to share. Everything to fear. That afternoon, trucks arrive again. This time, only women are selected. 20 of us. Names read aloud. Mine included. A British sergeant mutters to another, thinking we don't understand. Special detail. Witness recovery. Witness recovery. We ride out as the sun lowers, past ruined towns and fields torn by tank tracks. No one speaks. One woman quietly hums a children's song, then stops when she realizes she's doing it. As night falls, the trucks slow near a forested ridge. Searchlights sweep the trees. Engineers unload tools, shovels, flood lamps. The civilian with the wire glasses steps down and looks at us. Ladies, he says evenly, what you buried for them, you will now uncover for us. The lamps flare on, illuminating a sealed steel door half hidden in earth. And I know, with sick certainty, that some secrets were never. The steel door resists at first. Earth clings to it like it knows what lies beneath should not be released. British engineers work in silence, picks striking stone, shovels biting deep. Each sound echoes too loudly in the forest. We stand back, watched by soldiers with rifles at the ready. Not aimed at us but not away, either. When the door finally groans open, cold air breathes out. It smells of damp metal and all. A staircase descends into darkness. The civilian turns to me. You first. My legs feel hollow, but I step forward. A British lantern is placed in my hand. The light shakes. I hate that they can see it shake. Down we go one by one, boots scraping stone steps worn smooth by hurried feet. The bunker is larger than I expect. Concrete walls. Electrical cables cut clean. Someone left in a hurry, but not in panic. Panic leaves mess. This place is orderly. Crates line the main chamber, marked only with numbers. No insignia, no destinations. I recognize the numbering system immediately. My chest tightens. These weren't supply crates, I say before I can stop myself. They're indexed. The major glances at me. Indexed how? By priority, I answer. Not content. The engineers pry open the first crate. Inside, folders, thick, sealed in oilcloth, stamped with red ink and names blacked out. Others contain medals, prototype weapons, personal effects rings, watches, glasses, thousands of them, catalogued with brutal care. One crate holds women's files. Photographs stare back at U.S., young, middle-aged, secretaries, couriers, specialists. Some I recognize, some I trained beside. All stamped evacuation approved, none marked relocated. A woman behind me gasps. Another turns away, gagging. A British soldier swears quietly. The civilian flips through a file and stops. These women, he says, were never registered as POWs, never released, never executed. He looks at me. Where did they go? I swallow. They were reassigned. To where? I don't answer. My silence is answer enough. Deeper in the bunker, a secondary corridor leads to a reinforced room. The door is scorched from the inside. Melted hinges, a failed attempt to destroy it. Inside, the walls are lined with hooks. Empty hooks. At the center, a single table. Burn marks. A smear long since dried dark. The major's voice is tight now. Interrogation. I shake my head. No. Transfers. Transfers of what? I force myself to meet his eyes. People who knew too much. Women who typed too much. Heard too much. Lived too long. The civilian closes his notebook slowly. Above us, engines rumble. Another convoy arriving. The war may have ended, but this place was prepared for silence long after victory or defeat. As we move to leave, a soldier calls out from the far corridor. Sir, there's another door. Sealed. Recently. The metal is warm to the touch, and from behind it, something scratches. The scratching stops the moment we notice it. Every man freezes. Rifles come up, not aimed yet, but ready. The forest outside feels far away now. The bunker breathes around us, heavy and close. The sealed door is newer than the others. Fresh weld marks. Someone tried to hide this in a hurry. Open it, the major orders. An engineer hesitates, then cuts into the weld with the torch. Sparks scream against the concrete. The smell of burning metal fills the room. When the door finally swings inward, the light reveals a narrow chamber. A woman sits inside. She flinches at the light, raising an arm to shield her eyes. Her hair is cropped short, her uniform stripped of insignia. She looks older than me, but not by much. Dirt streaks her face. Her lips move, but no sound comes out at first. A British medic rushes forward. She's alive, he says, disbelief in his voice. The woman stares at me. Recognition flickers. Weak, but there. Anna, she croaks. My knees nearly give out. Lot Brandt, senior records officer. The woman who trained me. The woman who taught me which questions not to ask. They bring her water. A blanket. She drinks like it might vanish. She was sealed in, the engineer mutters. Not meant to come back. The civilian's pen moves fast now. Who put you here? He asks gently. Lot's laugh is dry and broken. Who do you think? She grips my sleeve with surprising strength. They said we were being transferred. Only women. Only those with clearance. We were told we'd be protected. Her eyes fill, but no tears fall. She's past that. They moved us from place to place. Castles, schools, hospitals, always at night. Always fewer each time. The major asks the question no one wants answered. Fewer how? Lot looks at the hooks on the wall. They were taken away, she says. For interviews, for loyalty checks, for silence. A long pause. They never came back. The bunker is too quiet. Even the soldiers seem unsure how to stand. Why keep you alive? The civilian asks. Lot hesitates, then looks straight at him. Because I remembered everything. And they were afraid to kill me until they were sure they'd escaped. Escaped. The word lands hard. Names spill from her after that. Senior SS administrators, intelligence chiefs, men officially listed as dead in Berlin or missing in the chaos, men who vanished before the surrender. She coughs violently. The medic urges her to stop, but she keeps talking. They burned the files, she gasps, but they couldn't burn the women fast enough. I feel something inside me break, not loudly, but completely. Above us, an officer shouts, vehicles, more lights. The major straightens. We need to move her, now. As Lot is lifted onto a stretcher, she grabs my hand again. They'll deny this, she whispers. They'll say it never happened. The bunker lights flicker. Somewhere deeper inside the complex, a muffled thud echoes, followed by the distant crack of collapsing stone. This place is not finished with us. The explosion is small, controlled but close enough to rattle dust from the ceiling. Someone is trying to erase the bunker while we are still inside it. Out, now! The major's voice cuts clean through the shock. Soldiers move fast. Lot is carried first, wrapped tight, her hands still gripping mine, until the last second. I'm pulled back by a corporal as another blast echoes deeper underground. This wasn't a forgotten hideout. It was a contingency. We spill into the night air as engineers sprint past us, shouting coordinates. The forest glows under portable floodlights. More British trucks arrive, tires crunching over gravel. A perimeter snaps into place like a trap closing. Then the gunfire starts. Short bursts, disciplined. Somewhere beyond the ridge, shadows scatter between trees. Someone tries to run. A flare rises, painting the forest white. Two figures break cover, men in civilian coats, moving too fast for refugees, too coordinated for panic. One stumbles, the other keeps going. A British sergeant fires once. The man drops. The second disappears into the trees. They bring the body back. Middle-aged, clean-shaven, well-fed. Papers in his pocket are false, but well-made. The civilian kneels beside him, face hard. That's one, he says quietly. There were more. I understand then. This bunker wasn't just storage. It was a checkpoint, a final clearinghouse for people the Reich could not afford to lose. Moving them quietly west, south, anywhere but into Allied hands. Women like us were not prisoners. We were filters. Inside the trucks, the other women sit rigid, staring into nothing. The truth has landed differently on each of us. Some are shaking. One is smiling too wide, too empty. I think of every page I typed, every train I logged, every time I told myself I was just a clerk. The civilian climbs into our truck. His voice is low, urgent. This operation doesn't exist, he says. Officially, this bunker never did either. A woman near the door snaps. Then why are we here? Because, he replies, some histories fight back. The convoy moves before dawn. Lot is taken ahead under guard, alive but fading. I don't know if she survived the night, or if survival will help her. At a temporary camp near Hamburg, we are separated again. This time, not by rank but by knowledge. I am placed in a small room with a single light bulb and a table. No guards inside, just files. My files, transcripts, copies, names circled in red. The major enters alone. You will testify, he says. Not a question. And if I don't, he exhales slowly. Then men like the one who ran tonight will finish what they started. He slides a photograph across the table. A castle in the Alps, intact, recent. Some of them are still out there, he says, and they're burning bridges behind them. Outside, thunder rolls. The war is officially over, but the hunt has begun. Interrogation changes when the war is over. There is no rush anymore, no ticking clock. Time itself becomes the weapon. The room smells of paper and damp wool. The light bulb hums softly above me, swinging just enough to be noticed. The major sits across the table, jacket off now, sleeves rolled. He looks tired. So do I. He doesn't start with questions. He starts with silence. Minutes pass. Maybe more. I stop counting. Then he slides a map toward me. Southern Germany, Austria. The Alps marked with neat pencil circles. Safe corridors, he says. Routes prepared months in advance. I trace one line with my finger before I can stop myself. His eyes sharpen. You typed that route? Yes, I say. The word tastes like rust, but I didn't know who used it. He opens another folder. Inside are photographs taken days ago. Castles, monasteries, remote farms. All intact, all quiet, all female staff, he says. No guards, no radios, no insignia. I nod slowly. They were told the same lie we were, that the Allies respected women, that surrender would protect us. And the men, they never stayed long. I remember now how officers would arrive at night. Leave before dawn, never speak names. How we were ordered to log supplies but not occupants. How certain women were removed without explanation. They were hiding among us, I say, using us as camouflage. The major leans back. Human shields. Yes. Another silence. Thicker this time. Then he shows me a final document. A transfer order I remember typing late at night, hands numb from cold and exhaustion. Stamped, Sondergruppe Morgenrat. Do you know what that means? He asks. Morning red, I reply. It was an escape protocol. For whom? I closed my eyes. For the elite, intelligence, scientific staff, political officers, anyone valuable enough to survive defeat. Outside, rain starts to fall, slow, steady. They told us Germany would rise again, I say, that what we protected would matter later. The major's voice drops. Do you believe that? I think of Lot, of the hooks, of the sealed door. No, I say. I believe they were afraid. He nods once, not an agreement acknowledgement. A knock interrupts us. A young lieutenant steps in, face pale. Sir, we lost her. My breath catches. Lot. The lieutenant nods. No last words. No statement. Just another woman who carried too much and lived too long. The major closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them, something has hardened. They're still moving, he says. We intercepted a transmission. Another evacuation. Tonight. He looks at me carefully. You're going to help us stop it. Fear floods me, but beneath it, something else stirs. Anger. Purpose. How? I asked. He slides me a forged pass. My name. A familiar stamp. Because, he says, they'll trust you. Thunder cracks overhead. Louder now. Somewhere in the mountains, men who thought they had escaped are packing their bags. And for the first time since the war began, I am not running from the dawn comes gray and thin, like it's afraid to look at what the night revealed. The airfield is sealed. Trucks idle. Prisoners sit hunched under guard, rain-soaked and silent. Keller's body is already gone wrapped, removed, erased with efficiency that feels uncomfortably familiar. But the footprints remain. They lead away from the tarmac, past the perimeter fence, into a strip of woodland where the rain could not quite erase them. One man, moving fast, not panicked, purposeful. The major crouches beside the prince, jaw tight. He knew the drill. Yes, I say, which means he knows where to go next. We don't waste time. A small pursuit team forms. British infantry, one intelligence officer, and me. I don't argue. I know the patterns. I know the lies that sound true. The trail leads to a service road, then disappears near a burned-out farmhouse. Inside, the smell of ash and damp straw. Fresh boot marks cut through the soot. In the cellar, we find a radio. Warm. He called it in, a soldier says. Called what? The major asks. I answer before he can. A contingency. By midday, we intercept chatter fragments picked up by mobile listening units. A name repeats. Not a person. A place. Waldenhof. The name pulls something loose in my memory. A medical estate. Sanatorium before the war. Requisitioned in 1944. Listed as abandoned in March 45. It wasn't abandoned, I say quietly. It was repurposed. We reach Waldenhof by late afternoon. It sits above a valley, white buildings scarred but intact, red crosses hastily painted over. No guards visible, no flags. Too quiet. We move in cautiously. Inside, beds are neatly made. Files gone. Kitchens cold but recently used. Someone left in a hurry but not in fear. In the operating theater, we find crates identical to those in the bunker. Empty. A British lieutenant swears under his breath. They were here. In a side room, I find something worse. A chalkboard. Names written and crossed out. Women's names. Dates beside them. At the bottom, one word is circled twice. Transfer complete. My hands shake. This was a relay, I say. They move the women again. Use them to escort the final group. Where? The major asks. I stare at the board, at the dates. Then I see at the gap, the missing link. They're heading east, I say. Not west. toward the lines that collapsed last. Why east? He asks. Because everyone is looking the other way. Outside, engines start. Orders are shouted. Time snaps tight again. As we leave Waldenhof, smoke begins to rise from one of the buildings. Delayed charges. Another erasure. From the hill, I look back once. The chalkboard is already burning. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the last convoy is still moving, carrying men who believe they can outrun history one final time. Rain slicks the tarmac, turning floodlights into pale halos that bleed into the dark. A single transport plane waits at the edge of the strip. Engines silent, crew nowhere in sight. Officially, this flight does not exist. Unofficially, it is already late. I wear a borrowed coat now. No insignia, no rank. Just the familiar weight of papers tucked inside orders I typed months ago. Recreated perfectly down to the crook stamp. My hands remember how to hold them. The major stands a few steps back, half lost in shadow. This is your last chance, he says quietly. Once you're in, you're alone. I nod. There's nothing left to discuss. A truck approaches without headlights. It stops short of the plane. Men climb out, 6 of them. Civilian clothes, military posture. They move with confidence earned, not learned. One carries a leather case handcuffed to his wrist. I recognize the walk of the man in front. Obersturmbannführer Keller, intelligence liaison, officially killed in Berlin. He scans the airfield, then fixes his eyes on me. You're late, he says. Roadblocks, I reply. British patrols. His mouth tightens. They're everywhere now. I hand him the papers. He barely glances at them. The stamp matters more than the words. Where are the others? He asks. Delayed, I say. Orders changed. That gives him pause. Just a flicker. Since when? Since the women started talking. The leather case tightens in his grip. For a moment, I think he'll shoot me where I stand. Instead, he steps closer. Women talk, he says. Men survive. Behind him, one of the others laughs softly. I lean in. Lot Brandt didn't. The name hits like a slap. Keller's eyes narrow. She was weak. She was alive, I say. Until you weren't careful. Rain drums harder now. The engines of the plane begin to whine too early. Keller turns sharply. Who authorized? Floodlights explode on. British voices cut through the rain. Armed. Don't move. Gunfire erupts instantly. Not chaos precision. One man drops before he can turn. Another dives for cover and doesn't make it. Keller lunges for the plane. I grab his sleeve. It's over. He rips free, reaching for his pistol. A single shot cracks the night. Keller stumbles, disbelief etched across his face, then collapses onto the wet concrete. The leather case skids away, snapping open. Inside, microfilm canisters, names, routes, futures that almost escaped. Soldiers rush in, securing the survivors. The plane's engines die with a low, defeated whine. The major approaches me slowly. You all right? He asks. I look at Keller's body, at the rain washing blood into thin red lines across the ground. Yes, I say. And for once, it's true. But as the soldiers celebrate quietly, loading prisoners into trucks, I notice something else. One set of footprints leading away from the airfield. Fresh. Unaccounted for. Someone else made it out. And somewhere beyond the rain and darkness, the last secret is still moving. We catch the convoy at the edge of a broken country. The road east is barely a road now, rutted, cratered, choked with refugees moving the opposite way. Carts, broken wagons, people who don't look up anymore. Perfect cover. The major raises his binoculars. 3 trucks, he says. Canvas backs. Civilian markings. I already know what's inside. We wait until dusk. Patience again. Always patience. When the first truck slows for a collapsed bridge, the order comes down the line with a single hand signal. British brand guns swing into place. Rifles steady. No warning shots. Now, the night cracks open. The lead truck jerks sideways as its engine dies. The second slams into it. Shouts erupt German, sharp and panicked. A man fires blindly from the back and is dropped before his second shot. The third truck tries to reverse. It doesn't make it. We rush in through smoke and shouting. Canvas is torn back. Inside the first truck, men, clean, shaven, some wearing stolen civilian coats over tailored uniforms. No insignia, but their posture gives them away. The second truck is worse. Women, young, old, some in medical smocks, some in plain coats, all exhausted, all terrified. Their wrists are free but their eyes are not. One woman stares at me, recognition dawning slowly. You, she whispers, from the office. Yes, I say. It's over. She shakes her head violently. They said you were dead, so that's what they told them. Gunfire erupts again near the third truck. I hear a British soldier shout, then curse. Someone runs. I turn just in time to see him, the man from the airfield. The one set of footprints unaccounted for. He moves fast, shedding his coat, vanishing into a line of trees. I chase him. Branches whip my face. My lungs burn. He's strong, trained, desperate. We burst into a clearing where the road curves downhill. He spins, pistol raised. Stop, I shout. He laughs a short, ugly sound. You don't get to stop us. We already did. He fires. The shock grazes my shoulder, spinning me sideways. Pain flares hot and sharp, but I stay on my feet. He hesitates just long enough. A rifle cracks behind me. The man drops forward, skidding in the dirt, the pistol slipping from his hand. British soldiers fan out, weapons trained. One checks his pulse and shakes his head. The major approaches, rain starting again like a tired refrain. That was the last courier, he says. I look back toward the trucks, toward the women being helped down, wrapped in blankets, hands shaking as reality finally catches them. Not the last secret, I say. He follows my gaze. In the third truck, half hidden under crates, is a steel case identical to Keller's. Locked, unmarked, still warm. Whatever they saved for the very end, it's still here. And we are finally out of time. The steel case sits on the road like a stubborn truth. No markings, no insignia, just weight and intent. An engineer kneels, listening, then shakes his head. No charge, just locks. The major looks at me. You know their habits. Yes, I say. They trusted paper more than bombs. The case opens with a metallic sigh. Inside documents, microfilm, and a single leather-bound ledger wrapped in oilcloth. Names fill the pages, not lists of the dead, but the living, locations, cover, identities, accounts, contacts in neutral countries. A map folded and refolded until it's soft as cloth. Routes crossing borders that no longer officially exist. At the back of the ledger, a final section, Frauenabteilung, Women's Division. I turn pages with careful hands. Margins crowded with notes in familiar handwriting styles. Promotions granted without rank. Assignments without units. Women used as couriers, archivists, shields. Disposable until they weren't. The major's voice is low. This could unravel years of disappearances. It will, I say, if it's believed. He meets my eyes. We both know the truth's weakness. Without witnesses, paper burns easily. Behind us, the rescued women sit together under blankets. Some cry quietly, some stare ahead, hollowed out. One hums again the same children's song as before, this time finishing it. I walk over and kneel. You're safe now. A woman looks up at me, eyes red but clear. They said the war would protect them, she says. That history would forget us. I think of Lot, of the hooks, of the sealed door. History remembers, I say. It just needs voices. By morning, the convoy moves this time west, under open guard. Prisoners separated from the women. The ledger sealed in a British satchel handcuffed to a wrist that won't let go. At headquarters, statements are taken. Names checked. Routes closed. Some men will still slip through. They always do. But not all of them. Not this time. Weeks later, I sign my testimony. Page after page. My hands don't shake anymore. The major thanks me without ceremony. You did your duty. I correct him gently. I stopped avoiding it. When I step outside, the sun is out for the first time in days. The air smells clean. Wrong. Somehow but welcome. The war didn't end with a parade. It ended with files opened, lies collapsed, and women finally believed. Some secrets vanished after 1945. These didn't. And as I walk away from the building, no uniform, no escort, I understand something clearly at last. They tried to bury history with us. Instead, we became the proof.